of us feel very accomplished if we can speak a few key phrases in another language like bonjour, ciao, hola. But 18-year-old Tim Donor speaks over 20 languages, and he taught himself using things we all have at our disposal. He first caught the country's attention with this YouTube video. Good luck trying to keep up.
I'm 16, and on this video I'm going to be speaking 20 languaes. J'aimerais bien commencer en français. Sunana Tim, mi jaar Amerikaner. Bagnadam Ndekaro, Ndekharushu, всем привет. Ich will auch auf Deutsch unterhalten, weil diese Sprache... Jiddisch ist gewinn die Marmelogen wo mein Zaidi und Bobby. شنو شغله نتسمعتي لخبرين خدشين إسرائيليين أهلا بكم. دلوقتي بالحقيقة أنا في برنامج عربي في جامعة ماريلاند ومتوصف هنا إيرانيون كده نيويورك زن شوي طنيا يوين وخن كوشين. Günaydın. Herkese merhaba. Aku sedikit diri sendiri tentang gigawaba minawa miigwech bizendawiyeg.
Whoa. So please welcome Tim Donor. That is so impressive. Okay, all right. How in the world did this whole thing start, Tim?
So I'd actually taken French and Latin for a couple years in middle school, but I think like most people, I wasn't really that motivated. I didn't feel like I made a lot of progress. What actually turned me onto it was that when I was around 12 or 13, I was really interested in learning more about the Middle East. And I started listening to Hebrew pop music a lot. And as pop music tends to do, it got really stuck in my head. And I found that just by memorizing song lyrics, I could start to understand a little bit of what people said. So from there, I started teaching myself a little bit more seriously. And I would say after about 6 months, I could actually have a fairly decent conversation without ever having studied the grammar, just from absorbing things naturally like that.
And so obviously you have this incredible propensity for languages. Did you just have this facility from an early age?
I don't think so, really. I used to be a child actor, actually, so I had a little bit of voice training, and I used to play around with accents and get jobs based off of that. But really, I couldn't speak anything besides English until about 4 or 5 years ago. And I think it's really just an issue of dedication, of finding something that makes it organic and natural to you, and really taking it off from there. If you don't have motivation, you're not going to get anywhere.
So how did you use technology to help learn these languages? Obviously, you use music.
Right.
And you're musical, which is interesting, because I think people who are good at language are often very musical, right?
Yeah, I would definitely say so. I mean, I've done things like Skype. I mean, every day it's easy just to go on Skype for 30 minutes, chat with people in whatever languages I can. It's really important to have that sort of learning community with you. If you're learning things out of a book and making it very cold and rationalistic, you're not going to be as successful as if you really just try to immerse yourself and learn about other people, communicate with other people.
So you Skype in some cases. In other cases, you do things like you go to Brighton Beach to speak with Russians. So you just want to hang out with the Russian... Wow, that's kind of crazy, but cool.
I mean, it's great to be in New York, especially for that. You can go to any neighborhood in the city, and that's generally what I tend to do. Brighton Beach for Russian, maybe Astoria for Arabic, Chinatown to practice Mandarin.
And what is the most difficult language in your view?
You know, I think that really depends on what you mean by difficulty. Like, a great example of that is Farsi. So Farsi, I would say, at least for me, wasn't that difficult. I'd studied Arabic beforehand, and I picked up the basics after about a month. But the amount of cultural knowledge you need is incredible. So, for example, in Farsi, they play this sort of social game called Ta'aruf. I don't know if anybody in your audience knows what that is, but it's...
Somebody's saying yes.
Salam. So it's a game in which essentially both people try to demean themselves the most over a course of a conversation, make themselves seem the most humble. So for example, if you're speaking with Iranians and you ask, let's say, for the price of something, it's rude to say the price immediately. What that person generally says is, it's worthless. Right? So the point being that essentially you're trying to show you that you're the most humble, that you don't need the money, even if you do.
Oh, so it's interesting, because there are obviously a lot of cultural ramifications.
Exactly. And that's something you could never learn with a book. And that's something also, even if you just studied a language from a book, you could still go to Iran and you'd have a lot of problems. You wouldn't understand. Learning a language is really not just about learning grammar, it's about learning culture. It's really about living the language and understanding how people use it.
And customs. Well,
exactly.
We've got some questions from some audience members, so we thought this would be fun. The gentleman in the tie, what's your question for Tim?
سلام، مرسی که اومدی. من میخواستم بدونم وقتی که تو مدرسه نیستی یا کار نمی‌کنی چی دوست داری بکنی؟
سوال خوبه. شاید یکم غریب به نظرت بیاد، ولی فکر می‌کنم که خیلی دوست دارم فیلم‌های ایرانی ببینم. مثلا عباس کیارستمی یا جعفر پناهی.
Whoa, what's going on here? Hey, we need like the interpretation on the lower screen. What language is that?
It was Persian.
Oh, Persian. Excellent. So, how's Tim's version?
Very nice.
Very nice.
خیلی خوب،
And what
خیلی
did you
خوب.
ask him?
تعارف نکن.
تعارف نمی‌کنم. I asked him basically when he's not in school or working, what does he like to do? And he was telling the movies he likes to see, particularly Iranian movies. So.
Oh, okay, nice. All right, we have another question. Thank you from someone in our audience. We have a question from the gentleman in the V-neck sweater. Hi.
Ай, Тим, ты реально крутой. Скажи, какой предмет в школе для тебя самый-самый сложный?
What is that?
Russian.
Oh, yes. Hi. Нет.
На школе я думаю, что я не могу хорошо понять математику, но на самом деле это неправда, потому что, например, русский язык для меня очень трудный, самый трудный для меня, знаешь? Потому что ты можешь...
What did you just say?
He asked me what the hardest thing for me in school is. I said math, but at the same time, too, actually, Russian's really one of the hardest things for me.
Wow. Wow, that's impressive. We have one more question from the pretty girl with the blonde hair.
Hi Tim, ich bin Sabrina und ich finde, du machst einen sehr netten Eindruck und deswegen wollte ich natürlich die große Frage fragen, ob du eine Freundin hast.
Gott im Himmel.
Whoa, what was the question?
Do you have a girlfriend?
Oh, and what language was that?
German.
German.
Also leider nicht jetzt. Eigentlich habe ich nie versucht. Als ich in Berlin war letzten Sommer, habe ich ja viele europäische Mädchen getroffen und sie waren ganz nett und hübsch. Also
Deutsche Mädchen gefallen dir schon, dir schon natürlich.
Also hoffentlich in der Zukunft werde ich erfolgreich sein, aber jetzt leider nicht.
Okay, do you guys want to keep this up after the show? Because I feel like I'm interrupting a potential match. So, what did you just say?
I don't have a girlfriend currently. When I was in Berlin last summer, I didn't really try, but I met a lot of really nice and pretty girls, so hopefully I'll be more successful in the future.
Right. Well, that's great. Thank you all so much for your questions. So, I mean, what would you like to do with all of this? I mean, are you hoping that you're going to use this in some professional capacity, work at the UN, be a diplomat? I know you're on your way to Harvard next year. What a shock, right? What would you like to do with all this?
I'm really not sure at the moment. I'm interested in being a journalist like yourself, or perhaps working in translation, working at the UN, studying abroad. I think anything is open to me at this moment. The only thing I do know is that I wouldn't be a good spy. That's
Why?
about it. I think the moment anybody asked me for information, I'd be way too freaked out. I'd just give it to them.
Yeah.
Not good under pressure.
Yeah, well, don't work for the CIA then.
There you go.
But Tim Donor, very nice to meet you. Merci beaucoup. C'est tout. That's all I know how to say, really. A little bit of French. But congratulations on all your
so much.
success
Thanks for
and
having me on your
good luck at Harvard next year.